Back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today is Tactic Wednesday. Yeah, right. It's a day whereby we talk about different tactics. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys, I think if you play my club, you've realized something. A lot of people use Santos. Yeah, Fernando Santos, the guy who uses 4-1-3-2 formation, right? And it's quite difficult to mark against because when people use Fernando Santos, they mainly use that 1-2-1-2 passing combinations, and that easily breaks you. So I spoke to a pro esport player, PAS player. If you think I'm lying, let me show you. Right here, I think you know Aldridge O'Neil. Shout out to Aldridge O'Neil. If you want, you guys, you can just check out his YouTube channel as well. I asked him what's the best way to counter or play against someone who uses Fernando Santos, and he said this: best formation against 4-1-3-2 is 3-2-2 Roberto Martinez formation in my club. Never lost against Fernando Santos. Use it since I have him. So I already had him because I mainly use a 3 defender formation. So I'm going to show you guys the tactics he told me to use and how I think you can also get this formation and manage to beat someone who uses Fernando Santos, because I think we all are tired of Fernando Santos. He's so OP and I hate that shit. I totally hate it. So honestly speaking, this is the setup of the formation. Basically, you'd want to spread out your defenders like this, okay? Don't put them too close to each other, because by doing that, it means they're mainly going to be so compact in the middle, and it's going to make wing play much more easy, you know. So I think I would like to spread them a bit wide away from each other, and the central defender, try to drag him one step. Like, look at this. Just try to drag him one step down, okay? That's okay. And also, focusing on the central center back, try to make sure that this guy is not a defender that's attacking. Try to make sure that this defender does not have where do you see this? Alright, here, when I think you see here down below this field icon, I think you can see all those positions, right? A defender, let me show you. Alright, I want to switch players. Alright, so I think you see here's an attribute. Make sure the central defender is not an extra front man. Don't make that mistake, guys. A central defender, this guy here should never be an extra front man. Why? Because when you go red or when you go attacking, if he's an extra front man, he's gonna overlap and go up the pitch, which is gonna leave your defense, your central position, open to through balls. And when you're playing against Fernando Santos, mainly people use tiki-taka 1-2 triangle passes with those three, one attacking mid and two center backs. So you'd want to mark tightly in the middle and make sure that your defender does not overlap. And even when you're not using red, if this guy is an extra frontman, he's gonna try to do this every time. He's gonna try to move up a bit and support the team, but you don't want that, okay? So don't use an extra frontman right there, or any defender that tries to overlap and attack. Don't use them. So when it comes to the midfield right here, I think this is the best setup, to be honest. I tried. You can also do this if you want, but I really don't like to push my defender in this formation to be particular, because man, it is very, you know, it's a 3 defender formation. So you'd want to guard against the central play, because Fernando Santos mainly dominates at the center. So you'd want to guard against it and try to make sure that you have your two midfielders, one defensive midfielder who's supposed to be a defensive minded midfielder. So I'll go to the tactics later. And try to make sure that you don't put them close, because I used to do this mistake of putting them close like this. Don't do that, right? So I think you see this this circle in the center. Try to make sure that the head of each midfielder is right in line with the outside of the circle, like this, right here. right here. I think you see it's right in line. So this is very is the best way to go about it, like this. And you can use RMF and LMF, which is quite good if you want to use wing back advanced formation. And yeah, you can use second striker depending on the ability and if you mainly rely on wing play or central play. So this is about it, guys. In terms of the formation wise, I would, if you want to, you can use this guys as central midfielders, right? If you are a guy who heavily relies on central midfield, you can use this guy as a central midfielder. But there's a catch to it, okay? If you use these guys as central midfielders, it means that you are gonna manually man mark your opponent's wide midfielders or your opponent's wingers. Manually man mark them, because if you don't, these guys are gonna be central midfielders and they're not gonna play as traditional wingers or wide midfielders. Hence, if you use wing back, which is a must in this formation, it's these guys that are gonna drop back and eventually mark wide midfielders, which is gonna strain the stamina and drain them as fast as possible, and you don't want that, okay? So if you guys use these guys as CMF, make sure that you manually man mark your opponent. So, but I would want to keep them as LMF and RMF, just to make sure that when I use wing back, it's these guys that are gonna drop, not my strikers. Alright, so also make sure that these guys have very high stamina, because these guys are gonna play in defense and in attack and in midfield. For example, if you are on a corner kick, these guys are gonna move up. Or in general, if you're in possession, these guys are gonna move up depending on the flow of the ball, So you'd want to make sure that these guys have high stamina. Alright, so let's go to the tactics part. So defensive, you have to use defensive on this guy, a defensive midfielder. Also try to make sure that you put a defensive midfielder in this formation, because as you can see, it has a gap in the middle, and you'd want to make sure that you have very defending, high stamina midfielders. So a defensive defense, put defensive or the defensive midfielder, which is great. And centering targets, I put centering targets to avoid, because if you don't put centering targets, this guy in the middle is gonna try to at times play here or even play here, depending on where the ball is, So that's the reason why I put centering targets, to make sure that he's always playing here in the center, and he refrains from going wide or anywhere else. So he always plays in the center, because that's where you want him to be. In case if you want him to be a false nine, it's okay. He can just drop a bit and feed these guys as they overlap and try to maybe cut inside. So try to make sure you use centering targets. And wing back is a must, guys. Wing back is a must. Wing back helps you mark against wide midfielders or wide players against your opponent. So I'm sure, with Fernando Santos, he doesn't really use wide midfielders, but those wide center midfielders, they can overlap as well, and you can counter that by using wing back. And in case you find this formation great to play against anyone as well, even someone who uses a 4-3-3 formation, wing back will be great for these guys, these wide midfielders who drop down. These wide midfielders like Zinchenko and Requa, they'll just drop down, and try to play as left backs and right backs, which means you have a very strong, compact defense formation with 5 defenders. Anyway, so again, here you'd want a deep defensive line, because listen, guys, I know deep defensive line is not good, especially when you have a manager that already has naturally a defensive mentality, or when you're using a 4 defender formation. It's so bad, because somewhere in the coding of the game, 4 defender formation just doesn't work well with defensive line. But when you're using a 3 defender formation, because these three defenders, you want them to stay behind as possible. It actually helps, and also helps counter against Fernando Santos, because Fernando Santos, he mainly plays tiki-taka in the center. So if your defenders go high up the pitch, they might lose their defensive line, and when they do that, you're totally broken down by Fernando Santos, because he mainly plays that central tiki-taka, and you'd want your defenders to always be behind his strikers, and always keep like the distance, so that you might play conservative with the strikers or aggressive, but try to make sure that they keep the defensive line, and you can do that by using deep defensive line as well. And if you want, for extra caution, you can just men mark the guys AMF with your DMF or your CMF, but mainly I would want you to mark the guys AMF with your CMF. You know why? Because the DMF is there to be an extra defender. He protects you against in any cases something happens. He should always be there to be an extra defender. So I would want to exhaust my CMF and make sure that my CMF attacks and defends as well, to make sure that this formation gets to have 3, 5, 7 defenders, and make sure that these guys, by any chance, they just drop back when I'm out of position and become LMF and RMF. So as you can see, guys, don't ask me why I use such a low rated team. I enjoy using 3 or 4 star teams. I hate 5-star teams, and I don't know, man. This is just my own taste, okay? So that's about it in terms of how to break Fernando Santos. I'll try to play a game with this formation against someone who uses Fernando Santos, so that I get to show you guys if it's done right. But shout out to Aldridge O'Neil. He's the guy who told me how to do this, and he's an amazing guy, like a very, very amazing guy. So if you want to go to his YouTube channel, support him, and he's just an amazing guy. He also does his own pro tactic tutorials. You would want to use these tutorials, you might want to use them as well, because he's a pro player. I'm just an ordinary player and a streamer, and this guy is an amazing player, so you'd want to watch more of his series and stuff like that. But he's amazing, absolutely amazing. So this is about it, guys. This is the best way you can play against someone who uses Fernando Santos, man, what am I saying? Fernando Santos is officially cancelled, and this is how you do it, by using a 3-2-2-3 formation. So thank you guys for watching my videos. Thank you for supporting the channel. I know, guys, my club has been dead and broken, but we love the game, so we keep on. We constantly play this game because we love the game. So see you in the next video, guys, and take care and enjoy. See you in the next video, and hopefully I'll bring you more PES Ultimate fantastic extraterrestrial supernatural content. Take care, guys. Cheers.